Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe Jaya, Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe Jaya, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Krishna. Now it's time for the Bhagavad-gita class. So if everybody can please face towards me on this side here, face over this side here.
Hare.
And we're going to have the Bhagavad-gita class. Someone sitting here and then he's giving a class. David Prabhu is giving the class? Hare Krishna. Yes, now. Yes. Huh? No. Huh?
Hare Krishna.
Sing it now. Jai Radha Madhava Hunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jai Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodana Braja Jana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulinda ki.
Hare Krishna, Krishna. So welcome to today's Bhagavad-gita class. Today we're going to be reading from chapter 10, text 2. Okay. Om Jnana Tirmiyandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitanyena Bhutaye Swayam Rupa Kadadmayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Triyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Tam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadavetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpa tarubhascha kripa sindhu bhyevacha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutaye Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Praschatya Desatarne Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya O Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya O Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Oh, Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, I'd like to seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees and also to those who may be listening online, that you may be able to speak something worthwhile today. So, thank you. So if anyone has their phones or anything or the text, they can try and follow along if they like. It's chapter 10, text 2. Name vidu surugana prabhavam namaharshaya ahamadirhi devanam maharshinam cha savarshaha. Name vidu suragana. So I'll say one line and you can repeat after me, please. So, Name vidu suragana, Name vidu suragana, prabhavam namaharshaya. Aham adirhi devanam, maharshinam cha savarshaha. Name vidu suragana prabhavam namaharshaya. Ahamadirhi devanam maharshinam cha savarshaha. Name vidu suragana prabhavam namaharshaya. Ahamadirhi devanam maharshinam cha savarshaha. So I'm not sure if anyone would like to try the recitation. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the word for word. Na. Never. Me. My. Vidhu. No. Surugana. The demigods, Prabhavam, origin, and opulences. Na, never. Maharishaya, great sages. Aham, I am. Adi, the origin. He, certainly. Devanam, of the demigods. Maharishinam, of the great sages. Cha, also. Sarvashaha, in all respects. And the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, neither the host of the demigods, nor the great sages, know my origin or opulences, for in every respect, I am the source of the demigods and sages. So neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. And purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord. No one is greater than Him. He is the cause of all causes. Here it is also stated by the Lord personally that He is the cause of all the demigods and sages. Even the demigods and great sages cannot understand Krishna. They can understand neither His name nor His personality. So what is the position of the so-called scholars of this tiny planet? No one can understand why this supreme God comes to earth as an ordinary human being and executes such wonderful, uncommon activities. One should know then that scholarship is not the qualification necessary to understand Krishna. Even the demigods and the great sages have tried to understand Krishna by their mental speculation, and they have failed to do so. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also, it is clearly said that even the great demigods are not able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They can speculate to the limits of their imperfect senses and can reach the opposite conclusion of impersonalism, of something not manifested by the three qualities of material nature. Or they can imagine something by mental speculation, but it is not possible to understand Krishna by such foolish speculation. Here the Lord indirectly says that if anyone wants to know the absolute truth, here I am present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the Supreme. One should know this. Although one cannot understand the inconceivable Lord who is personally present, he nonetheless exists. We can actually understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, simply by studying his words in Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The conception of God as some ruling power or as the impersonal Brahman can be reached by persons who are in the inferior energy of the Lord. But the personality of Godhead cannot be conceived unless one is in the transcendental position. Because most men cannot understand Krishna in his actual situation, out of his causeless mercy, he descends to show favor to such speculators. Yet, despite the Supreme Lord's uncommon activities, these speculators, due to contamination by the material energy, still think that the impersonal Brahman is the Supreme. Only the devotees who are fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord can understand, by the grace of the Supreme Personality, that is Krishna. The devotees of the Lord do not bother about the impersonal Brahman conception of God. Their faith and devotion bring them to surrender immediately unto the Supreme Lord, and out of the causeless mercy of Krishna, they can understand Krishna. No one else can understand him. So even great sages agree, what is Atma, what is the Supreme? It is he whom we have to worship. So this is talking about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the source of all. So it says in the Bhagavad-gita, Aham sarvasya pravavo iti mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So Krishna says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me, and the wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service. So that's what we have to try and understand, is that Krishna is the source of everything. And we cannot understand him unless we actually engage in devotional service. So many people have the conception that what is called here about demigods. So the Supreme Lord is like if we look at like a king or a president, and they have their government, and they have their own ministers. So the demigods are like the ministers in the government, and so they're representatives of the Lord, but none of them are actually at the position of the Supreme Lord. So this is where there's some misunderstanding sometimes, that people say that anyone is on the same level as the Supreme Lord, but no one is actually on the same level as the Supreme Lord. And everything is actually run by the Lord's energies. So they say that it's Supreme Lord, Srila Prabhupada mentions, the Supreme Lord doesn't actually have a name, but like when someone is very good or at something, or has a particular opulence, then they call a name that matches that. So therefore, we call the Supreme Lord Krishna, and Krishna means all attractive. So no one else can actually be all attractive. It's only the Supreme Lord who is all attractive, and everything is actually revolving around him, is going towards him. So in this material world, we all have our own natures. The word dharma, which is, it's mentioned a lot in the 18th chapter, it talks about dharma. So dharma is like a duty, and another word described as is like occupational or occupation. And also the dharma of something can be the intrinsic nature. So for example, the dharma of fire, the intrinsic nature of fire is heat, or if we touch fire, it will burn, and so on. And water is like liquidity. But I wonder if I can ask someone, if maybe someone can answer, what is the intrinsic nature of the soul? Yes, Boo. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the body is different in the soul, and well, that's right as well. So we want to serve Krishna. So that's the actual intrinsic nature of the soul, is to serve. Um, Krishna says in this material world that regardless whether we follow him or not, we serve him regardless, because everything is Krishna's energy, and whether we're serving Krishna directly, we're serving him indirectly. But the thing is that we're actually not surrendered to Krishna. We have to actually surrender to Krishna to serve him. And as I mentioned, the example of Krishna being, for example, the example of the king. And if we want to actually serve the king, we can serve the king, but if we want to actually know the king, we have to actually, or to meet with the king, we have to get invited by a representative of the king. So this is like the spiritual master in terms of Krishna. So we have to actually, it says in the Bhagavad-gita 4:34 that we have to surrender onto someone who knows who has actually seen the absolute truth, and we have to inquire for him submissively and render service unto them. And if we serve someone who is actually in the line and has actually realized their knowledge, then we will ourselves manifest those qualities and will become eligible to actually associate with Krishna. But that's the goal, is we actually have to serve Krishna. I wonder if there's any other questions in this. Thank you. Okay. So as I mentioned, we actually have to serve Krishna. But last week I was giving class, and an interesting question came up. The question was, what does service really matter? Because once we serve, do we just serve and then we stop serving once we leave this world? So does service actually matter? So that's an interesting point. But it speaks about in this purport the impersonal Brahman. So Krishna has three different manifestations. One is the impersonal Brahman, which is like the effulgence of Krishna, which is perceived as the all-pervading light. And then beyond that impersonal Brahman is the Paramatma, which is actually the Lord who is situated in the heart as a super soul. And this is the Lord who actually will give us guidance. And then beyond that is the Bhagavan aspect of the Lord. And this is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is his personal aspect. And that's the Supreme Person himself. Yes.
So you said Krishna is the source of spirituality and material.
Yes.
So, but from what I've heard is he always says to material world is like the illusion called Maya, and it's more sort of like serving him and moving into spirituality. So how does it connect them if he's the source of
So I'm not sure if I fully understood the question. Yeah, thank you.
how is Krishna the source of material world when we are asked to serve him and get into spiritual world?
Yes, so Krishna is the source of the spiritual world. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita that all these living entities, which are us, are his eternal parts and parcels. So we're also eternal, but we're individual, and we have a minute independence. So we all have our own free will. And for some reason or other, we have decided to enjoy separately from Krishna, and we've come here. So we decided to actually serve ourselves in that sense, and that's why we've become entangled in matter and material energy. So only by actual redeveloping our relationship with Krishna, who is our eternal Father in that sense of servitude, can we actually develop our actual true nature and act in our true position as a servitor of the Lord. And by that sense, when we actually develop that relationship, we will eventually transcend this world and leave this world behind and return to where we actually belong in that sense. But I was just making the point about, spoke about the impersonal Brahman, which is Krishna's all-pervading light. And some people have the aspect of what happens, when we're serving. So this is actually for those who are very much convinced of the impersonal Brahman and the light of God, that this is the highest. They realize this as the highest aspect of the Lord. So they have this conception that service is simply just a means to an end. So I just serve now, and that I'll actually merge into the light and become the light. So they believe that they actually will become God in that sense. So this is something which Srila Prabhupada points out, is that this is not the case, and you don't actually become God, but we're eternally servants of God. And that's our actual natural position. That's the intrinsic nature of the soul, is actually to serve. And it's due to that when we're in this material world, we act like we have this independent streak where we try to lord it over like the material energy and have our own independence. So naturally, when we're delving away from this material world in servitude, we might come to this conclusion first, but that's not the highest understanding. And the fact of the matter is that we're eternally servants of the Lord, and the Lord is actually, as I mentioned, He's the source of everything. He has all opulences, 6 opulences, beauty, strength, renunciation, and knowledge, and so on. So we may have some opulences, but we can never have all opulences, and no one can claim to have all opulences. But as it was mentioned, Lord Chaitanya actually he was asked who is the supreme. Is it Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma and so on? He was asked about Lord Shiva in this sense, and he pointed out a sloka from the scripture, the Srimad Bhagavatam as well, that when the Ganges flows to this world, it flows from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, and then it goes onto the head of Lord Vishnu. So from the feet of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva then takes it on his head, and this does very much show the difference in who is actually superior as well. But that's not to mention the fact that Lord Shiva is always meditating on Lord Vishnu, and likewise with Lord Brahma, he's always in meditation as well and service to the Lord. So that's something that people have, that I'd like to, that Srila Prabhupada tried to clarify very much as well, is that many people have the perception that they'll actually become God, but this is not in line with the scriptures. And according to the scriptures, there's only one supreme God, and that's Lord Shri Krishna. And everyone is actually the servant in that sense. I'm not sure if there's any more questions.
How do I serve Krishna? So do I serve the mankind, or do I do my deeds, or do I just get devoted to Krishna and that's it?
So thanks for that. That's a nice question. The thing is, if we actually, it might seem good serving mankind, but it doesn't actually. Ultimately, we have to serve Krishna, and we may do like welfare activities for mankind, but this can be good, but it's not actually, it won't awaken their Krishna consciousness. The ultimate thing, the welfare activity, is um, to actually help people to actually awaken the original relationship with Krishna. So to serve Krishna, we have to actually serve Krishna's representative. So Krishna has his representative in the spiritual master and the disciplic succession. So this is a long line of devotees of Krishna who will actually impart the knowledge onto us. And as I mentioned earlier, that by rendering service unto the spiritual master, they will reveal the truth. So we actually try and follow the spiritual master's instruction. And by pleasing the spiritual master, then he can impart knowledge onto us and will become purified as well. So when Srila Prabhupada came to the West to actually spread Krishna consciousness, he had a very simple, pure-hearted approach, and he often spoke about that Vaishnavism is simplicity, and he spoke about simple living and high thinking. But he just tried to actually, he didn't envision what he wanted to do. I want to do this and I want to do that. He simply wanted, as he said, is just to serve his spiritual master. And by serving his spiritual master's instructions, that's how he actually benefited so many people. So that's the way to actually get Krishna's mercy, is through service and to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada also mentions that in terms of actually welfare activities, like philanthropy and so on, these things are good, but it won't end the suffering. We even if we make so many hospitals and so on, it's still not. It's going to. It's not. It's pro-reactive. It's not actually addressing the root cause. So, and the root cause of actually suffering in the world is a lack of actual knowledge, because there's actually so much. There's so much in this world, and which Srila Prabhupada mentions as well, that this world is actually full of abundance, but the only problem is actually mismanagement, and that the actual leaders aren't Krishna conscious, and they're not actually in line with the scriptures. As we can see, for example, that there's so much, even in terms of food in the world, there's so much food to go around in this world, but we can see that even due to meat eating, which isn't actual slaughtering animals for sense gratification. In this sense, they're growing so many plants all over the world and grains just to feed the animals, and there's so much plenty of grains that could actually be used to feed the human population of the world, but it's simply due to sense gratification and a lack of knowledge that there's actually lack in the world. And by Krishna's mercy, when we actually get real knowledge and we actually please Krishna, that's when his mercy will flow. And Krishna spoke, and Srila Prabhupada he spoke also, that this whole world can become like Vaikuntha. It can become like the kingdom of God if we actually have a Krishna conscious society. That will be no actual suffering. But of course, we'll have to leave this world behind. This world is never perfect, and that's the Lord's plan. Is that Krishna says in the Sri Upanishad, it's said that Krishna is a complete whole, and everything that emanates from him is also a complete whole, and is completely perfect. So this material world is completely perfect, and the fact that it's a place of suffering, it's meant to be like that. So we can actually introspect and question, why is this happening, and how do I actually solve this, and that's the actual design of this material world, so that we can actually leave this world behind. Thank you. Yes, Boo, thank you.
Swami, what should a 7-year-old child do? What are the 3 things? What a 7-year-old should
A 7-year-old, yes. Well, I suppose they can chant. Yeah, that's always good. When we chant the Maha Mantra, we're asking Lord to please engage me in your devotional service. Thank you. And they can, they can come to the temple, honor the Lord's prasadam. They can have spiritual activities, but they can always keep engaged if they can, if they have that propensity in devotional service. But if they're willing, but it's not too, I suppose, not to actually to be that we can't be too forceful on the child either. That they have their own independence as well. But if they have a natural inclination, then they can engage in devotional service and chant as well. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Something interesting which I saw recently is that in Gujarat in India, actually, that they've made Bhagavad-gita studies is compulsory in all the schools now there, which is actually very interesting, because this is actually what society needs in terms of actual developing proper understanding and knowledge. As is mentioned in the Bhagavad-gita, about the disciplic succession of the kings, and the knowledge was lost. And it said even not too long ago in India that there was a culture there of when people used to actually discuss regularly, even in the schools, it was all done through the Bhagavad-gita, and it was society was much happier. But since a much more modern view on education has come in, that people aren't as happy in that sense anymore, and there's more implications. And this is what Srila Prabhupada speaks in this purport, is about whatever so-called academic and pursuits of education that is not going to actually lead to happiness. It's similar. So it's similar to the actual, like the mode of passion in that sense, that it may seem actual beneficial. It may give us some sort of happiness in the beginning, but it won't in the long term. And this world is actually a place of duality. Even when we actually try to enjoy in this world, for example, like many people, they might try some kind of enjoyment, like I know it's festivities now, and they may go to even at different parts of the year, they may go on holidays and so on, and this is like sukha, so they get some sort of material enjoyment. But always in this material world is dukkha as well. So there's also miseries. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita in chapter 5, text 22, that these actual material senses, and due to contact with the sense objects, are the sources of misery. And so that the wise person does not delight in them, because they know that such pleasures have a beginning and an end. So there's no satisfaction actually being engaged in material enjoyment. It doesn't last actually, and it's only spiritual engagement which is actually devotional service. So as mentioned, this whole world is all Krishna's energy. Even what we consider matter is Krishna's energy. It all emanates from Krishna. And when we engage things in Krishna's service, they're no longer considered material. They take on spiritual, they become spiritualized. And this is the process of actual devotional service. When we engage our senses in the service of Krishna, they also become spiritual and spiritualized. So we don't become entangled, and that's the process of actually becoming free from material entanglement, is that by engaging in devotional service, as is mentioned, Ambarish Maharaj, he used all these senses to actually engage in devotional service. So when we actually look at the deity, and this will actually spiritualize us, and we take darshan. when we honor the Lord's prasadam, the spiritualized foodstuff that we offer to the Lord, this will all spiritualize us. So it's a very simple process. It's just to keep, by keeping things very simple and focus on the Lord, which is very easily to actually do, we can actually serve the Lord, and by that way make progress. But as it's mentioned that even if someone may seem to be doing the same thing, they may go to the same place of work every day, but it depends on our intention. If one's actual goal is to actually serve the Lord, then there's a big gulf of difference between someone who is doing the same things day in, day out, and someone who is actually doing it for their own sense gratification. So one is actually entangling us, and then the other one is actually freeing us from that sense. I'm not sure if there's any questions, any more questions. Okay, well, I'd like to thank you as well for coming today on Christmas Day. As we know that Jesus is actually a very a devotee of Lord Sri Krishna also in that sense. And Srila Prabhupada had mentioned that when he was speaking with the actual cardinals and priests, he mentioned that yes, that Jesus actually is the Son of God as well, and that we all are actually sons and daughters of God. But there's one thing that he specifically mentioned is that the importance of actually not killing animals, and the importance of being aware of that in that sense. And Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad-gita also that there's certain things which we can offer to him. Whether one offers me with a leaf, a fruit, a flower, or water with love, I will accept that. So that's the process. Is that in this world of duality, on the way this world is designed, unfortunately, we have to live on the life of others and the life of other things, such as even if it's plants and so on. But we can actually offer this to Krishna, and when everything is offered to Krishna with love and devotion, and then that's when he will actually accept it. There is a story in the Mahabharata when Krishna came to actually visit in Hastinapur, and he wanted to speak with the Kurus, and to actually diplomatic means of diplomacy to actually rectify the situation and avoid any conflict. And then he went to go to the house of Duryodhan. Well, Duryodhan had arranged for him to stay in a palace, and when Krishna went there, he saw it was so opulent, and he wasn't so inclined to go there. But he did go to the house of his devotee, which was actually Vidura. And Vidura's house was more simple, but Vidura was completely surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna appreciated this more. And then when Krishna went to Vidura's home, Vidura's wife was there, and she actually offered, she was very taken by Krishna and very nervous and trying to actually serve Krishna properly. And then she went to actually offer Krishna some bananas, which was a very simple offering. And then she peeled the bananas, and in her rush to please Krishna, she threw away the inside of the banana and gave Krishna the peels. And Krishna was very happy with this, and he immediately honored the bananas, and it just goes to show that what's most important is the intention and the actual trying to serve and to please Krishna. And I think that's a good message for today, and even the festive period where everyone is free for the next few weeks. Just before we finish up, I wonder if there's any more questions. Yeah. Okay, so Bhagavad-gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Okay, all glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
We got 10 minutes before the Aarti, so we can chant some mantra until then, okay? Then we can all have a darshan, beautiful darshan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokul Nand Radha Gokul Nand Radhe. Jaya Radha Gokul Nand Radha Gokul Nand Radhe. Jai Sita Ram Lakshmana Jai Sita Ram Lakshmana.
जय श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की, श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री श्री गौर निताय की. So as the Aarti ceremony is being performed, we're going to sing this song, the Gaur Aarti song, which is there on your right hand side in the ceiling. And we have Mangala Vaishnava Prabhu who will be leading the Gaur Aarti song. So he will sing one line, and if you can follow him after that, and then we'll go on to chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prasharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Kashoba Shiva Jaya Jaya Gora Chande Shobha. Janavita Savani Jagamana Loba. Janavita Savani Jagamana Loba. Dakini Nitai Chan Bhame Gadadhara. Dakini Nitai Chan Bhame Gadadhara. Nikate Advaita Srini Vasa Chatradara. Nikate Advaita Srini Vasa Chatradara. Bosi Yache Goracha Ratna Singasane. Bosi Yache Goracha Ratna Singasane. Bhaje Karatala Bahukuti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala Bahukuti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala Galadeshe Banamala Korijalamala Galadeshe Banamala Korijalamala Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gada Gada Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gada Gada Bhaktivedanta Dekhe Gadara Sampada Bhaktivedanta Dekhe Gadara Sampada Shiva Jaya Jaya Gorachande Bharati Kashoba Jakhavita Tavane Jagomana Loba Janari Tatavane Jagamana Loba Jagajana Mana Loba Jagajana Mana Loba Oranje Paroti Shobha Jagajana Mana Loba Garanje Paroti Shobha Jagajana Mana Loba Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Om Nishnapad Paramahamsa Pariraja Kacharya Shtatara Shata Shri Srimati Danya Goswami Achi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Nishnapad Paramahamsa Pariraja Kacharya Shtatara Shata Shri Srimati Danya Goswami Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Iskon Guru Vrinda Ki Asnama Founder Acharya Iskon Vibhiti Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Bhupinatha Radha Kunda Shyama Kunda Hiri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Mathura Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Navadvipu Dham Ki Gangamai Yamunamai Ki Tulasi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Nitai Hora Premananda. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, please do take a seat. We're going to conclude the Aarti ceremony by offering prayers unto Lord Nrsimhadev. We will have Prem Sankirtan Prabhu, who will be leading the Nrsimhadev prayers. And then we've got a couple of announcements, important announcements from Kamita Prabhu, so please do stay with us.
Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya. Come,
Prahlad ki, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We'd like to welcome everyone to the Bhaktivedanta Manor. We'd also like to thank everyone for their amazing enthusiasm, for the amazing dancing, for the amazing singing, for the amazing smiles, for the amazing everything. We've not come to the end of our day. We have kirtan right after this, so if you'd like to go on with the dancing and the singing and go maybe a little deeper, it starts soft and goes up as the kirtan goes. There's kirtan, there's a kirtan session after this. There's also prashadam for those who have gone hungry from the dancing at the Haveli. And there's also be one more arti at 9, but kirtan will be going on until 9:30. We can go the whole night if you can, if we have many people, enough people to take us through. But yeah, we still have a lot to in store for us. So on to just one final announcement. Next Saturday, who knows what it is? Okay, yes, it's the end of the year, but there's something more. Jai Gita Jayantiki. Yeah, we're gonna be having the recitation of the full Bhagavad-gita. Let me see by raising by show of hands, how many of us have read the whole Gita? Jai. Okay, how many of us have read one chapter of the Gita? Jai. More hands. Okay, how many of us have read one verse of the Gita? Okay, Jai. That means everyone is bona fide to be in attendance. So we'll be having those who have not experienced the Gita. We'll be having the full recitation of the full 700 texts of the Gita, and it will be followed with explanations, small little explanations of each and every text, and how we can actually apply that in our lives. Most of us who come here on Sunday, we have a whole 6 days of work and so many things that we're interacting with, family life, finances, work and all that. So the Gita is a very good guide for that. So you're invited on the 31st, a good way to end the year. So we have an opportunity for people to sponsor the Gitas. You can either get the Gitas and go distribute to your friends, or you can leave a donation at the reception, and then we enthusiastic team, we go out hospitals and to prisons and maybe in the streets just to distribute the Gitas. So there's an opportunity for each and every one of us to have some spiritual benefit from either reading the Gita or hearing from the Gita or sponsoring or making someone hear from the Gita. Anyway, I won't take much of your time. I've seen maybe some of you already started to feel separation from the kirtan. So yeah, it's kirtan time. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. And for those who are going for prashadam, it's prashadam time. Hare Krishna. And those who are going home to get some sleep, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I wish you a beautiful week. See you next weekend. Not on Sunday, on Saturday. Come on Saturday. We'll also have an amazing program that will be running through the night to welcome the new year. So, all blessings. See you next weekend. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I like it. You like it? Matching your pants. Huh? So you got a full Arsenal kit, eh? Welcome home.
Thank you. Madam.
Oh, you see.
Yeah. I'm coming. I'm bringing a cushion, yeah? I bring cushions? Yeah.
Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare Hare
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kakulananda, Radha Kakulananda, Radha Kakulananda, Radhe Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Namaste Narashingaya. Namaste Narashingaya.
Tavakara Kamalavare Radha Adhuta Shringa Kalita Hiranya
Gatiranyatha. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Eva Kevalam. Kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva Gatiranyatha. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Eva Kevalam. Kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva Gatiranyatha. Shri Harinam Prabhu ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhaktivedanta Manor ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Rivo, Panchakalpa Tarupyascha Krupa Sindhupya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Next weekend, it's very full. Next week, Saturday morning, they're doing the Gita Jayanti festival. So there's Gita recitation going on in the morning in the Haveli, and in the evening we have Kirtan. So hopefully we can see everyone there. And then next Sunday, obviously, is New Year's Day. So, Haribo. Haribo.
I don't think it's come back.
Christian.
Well, there must be some.
Exactly. If I'm nice,
There's something going on. It's like, what do you actually want?
What do you want? Why
What do you want? Why you nasty?
I love it. I'll see you guys Saturday.
See Saturday. 5 o'clock, yeah? How was your Christmas, Roger? It was okay, thank you. You?
Was it good?
Quite well.
Spending time with Shashi.
He was like torturing me. I know.
Why?
You had that feeling. I had that feeling that she kept saying,
You should have stayed. Then you went to Jenny's house for Christmas party.
No, we're going to have it Tuesday with his cousins. You're right.
That's the more. Oh, yeah. You have to read everything.